blessing. Every day's a blessing. Blessings, 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 right? So for me, okay, I'm going to take this one out. Yeah. But hi, guys. So, name's Carl Ellis. Wow, in performing arts. Also, um, we are a Christian corner shop, and also we are the Voice of Healing. But we started off as the Voice of Healing because my main message is to bring light into mankind back, much as an effort, as a mammoth effort it is so important to bring um, light back into the world. We are children of the light. I'm also live on Facebook and Instagram as well because I truly believe it's important that we educate our children. Children, I mean, what kind of world do we live in where the children are a target? You know, our children are being exposed on every single area, every single front. We're talking dietary, education, technology, information, a plethora of attack on our children. And it's not on, and it's not right, and it's not correct. And there is an orchestrated effort for our children to be attacked. I truly believe that. And for me, when I see how our children are reacting, that's proof enough for me to say, hold on, let's pull out the stops. Something has to happen to protect these young children because these young children, funny enough, will grow up to become adults. It's crazy because the roles change. We then become the child and they then become the parent. And I'll give you an example. When I was young and my father used to look after me, I was big, strong. I used to take care of him, protect him. So he used to take care of me, protect me. He used to be powerful. He would run when I was little. He would be like the fastest man on the planet. He was huge to me. He literally looked massive. He was only 5'7". The guy was only 5'7", a tiny man. And when I grew up to be over 6'3". And it took me a little while to realize that, hold on a minute, what a world we live in. This was my everything. My father, I don't know about you, but my father was everything to me. He meant my whole life. And he was such a gentle, kind man. And then when I got older, and he also got older, it changed. He became the person who needed support, who needed help, who needed guidance. And I was there for him to the end. And it's so painful to see someone that you love so much. And this is why I work with children also, because I see children in that position. Parents, this is such a privilege to be a parent to a child. It is an incredible privilege to be a parent, to birth life, to give life, something that we were not afforded that by our own efforts. It is by the effort of God, by the universe, who said, yes, we're going to allow you to have children. There's some parents who don't have children. So it's a mammoth effort from the universe. And for that, we should be so grateful. And this is why at Wow English Performing Arts, I see the children. I see the effects that the government have on the children. And I'm telling you, it is so detrimental to their health. To a point, I would say they have no chance. No chance. They are attacked. We put them aside for a second. I want you to follow me. We, as adults, struggle with media, social media, TV, the internet, news, scrolling, dopamine hits. We struggle as adults. We don't have to have that ability to get into school and be told to sit down and concentrate whilst our brains and our cells are just like firing all over the place and being overstimulated. We don't have that task to deal with. We go out and do our work, hopefully most of us are working. But when it comes down to the children, they do not have that opportunity. They have to sit down by adults who are also stimulated by society, by information technology, by the media, by the phones. We all have the same cells, the children and the adults alike. So how much do we need to really have empathy and understand that these children also need a place to calm down? In the Bible, it talks about the scorpion sting. And that's a sting by the scorpion. Now, I'm not a Bible basher, but I want you to understand this, that if you can use your imagination and understand what that sting could mean. You know what I mean? Something stings you, like ouch. That sting from the scorpion has been proven and shown to cause 90%, 90% of the autism spectrum. There's a connection between that. Would you believe if I told you that? What kind of mind would want a child to come out in a certain way that is autistic? What kind of child? I've got incoming. 1 2 1 2. Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'll have to give you a call later. Yeah, I'm just doing a live. Okay, thank you. What kind of mind wants a child to be like that? And again, if you go back to the Bible, you remember when one of the children of the Lord Jesus Christ was saying, hold on a minute, we need to take over this village. And armies, you would see that God would give the decree to destroy everything. So there is a method to this, our so-called madness of mankind and what God brings forward. I don't want to go too far off the path, but I'm just letting you know that children become adults. They become adults too. Now, these adults could also become a threat. So, why not nip it in the bud? I have to be very careful with my terminology before the little fledgling snake becomes a fully poisonous reptile that could harm you. So these children, our babies, have to be protected on all grounds, on all costs. But we need good children to come into the world. We need kind children. We need children who are empathetic. We need children who have altruistic tendencies. We need children to feel again and to care again. Because without that, we have tyranny, we have mayhem, we have chaos. You know, I look at the UK, and the UK for me is the epitome of what could be great, what could be wonderful 20 years ago. Not now. You know, you're always going to have people discriminating against one another. We are always going to have people discriminating. You know, in possibly we could look at the far right and what they say they want to have, you know, their country back. I guarantee you, and I say this with a full chest, that in their utopic world, even if they were to get rid of every single hue outside of their own Caucasian hue, their beige hue, they would still be some form of discrimination. Isn't that crazy? There would still be some form of hate. Maybe they don't like you because you're overweight, or they don't like you because your hair's a different color, or because you're different eye color. There will always be something. We are built like that. Now, this big word, this big R word, was just fabricated to be a key word, a trigger word. So you say something and someone says, "Oh, you are a..." Then all of a sudden, what happens is it triggers you. Then you become reactionary, angry. Let me get this, let me get. It's a tool by the enemy to separate people. Now, the UK, for me, is a beautiful place. It was a place full of compassion. And now it's slowly being drained away by design. And our children are the ones who are reaping the consequences of this. I see our children right now. I see children right now who are lost, in pain. They're looking for help. They're looking for the big person. Not to show off. Kids don't want to see that anymore. Those times have gone. Those times have gone. Now they want to see. Can you inspire me? Can you build me? Can you strengthen me? Can you show me how to become great? How to find my purpose here? Who am I? I've heard a lot of them ask that. Who am I? Why am I here? What's the point of all of this when at the end of the day, all I'm going to see is my mum and dad pass? What is the point of even trying if I know it's just a limited amount of time? And a lot of children who are autistic or who are ADHD afflicted or whatever mental, you know, position they find themselves at, they start to delve into other things because it makes no sense. In the grand scheme of things, this life makes no sense. What is this about? If all we do is live, grow up, trust, love the people we're with so much, only to see them wither and pass. So this is where, and I'm saying this from experience. I've felt like this. I've talked to kids like this. You know, I've been there. I've worn the shoes. I've been there, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. What is the point? And so a lot of them are overwhelmed with pressures from the world, expectations from the media. What this is what I'm supposed to be, but I can't achieve that. I'm watching this guy who's on top of the world. He's amazing. Everybody loves him. How can I get to people? How can I get people to love me and like me and appreciate me? And he can never achieve that goal that's been fabricated by the media, which is so unfair. Which is so unfair when you see a child who is struggling, a child who is having so much pain just living every single day mentally without either being accepted, looking different, being hindered in one way or another. And there is no one to turn to. You go to school, you get bullied, you go home, you get bullied. I have to be very careful with my words. But then there is no way to turn. You turn on TV and they feed you the garbage that they want you to take in. They separate you from your families. Your mother and father are busy working. They come back, they want to relax. They've got so many bills and taxes and this and that they have to deal with. And if they don't do it on time, they get fined. More money, more pressure. They go and park somewhere, they have to pay for their parking and they have to be quick within an hour. They've got to rush, come back. All the while raising their blood pressure, their cortisol level, their adrenaline levels. And oftentimes they have no time for the child. And then they go back and they're also, to a certain degree, addicted to the phones or the laptops. Getting that dopamine hit. Instagram, looking at the views that they've got. Falsely lifting up their spirits, their egos, full of ego. All these compounding pressures that afflict the human condition. People thinking they love them because they are half naked on Instagram, you know, showing their muscles and thinking that people love them or know them, building their ego. And it's not about that. In my opinion, this is simply my opinion that I'm putting across there. We are created to help, to build, to be a creative genius, to help each other, to exchange ideas, to exchange mental capacities, to exchange what we do as human beings, to use our frontal cortex to be able to help and make this world a better place, to create experiences, to build. What is your purpose? I hear many children ask. What am I supposed to do here? I want to be a footballer. Do you know what percentage become, even in the second league, NFL players? Do you know how many they see these big stars on TV. I want to be like that. Yeah, aspire to that. You should aspire to that. But also understand that there is the reality, which not everyone makes that or makes it. Singers, oh yeah, I want to be a singer, yeah. They don't realize it's hard graft. And oftentimes, those singers really are slaves to the system. Streaming, look at streaming, owned by big companies, but yet the artists get nothing. But they paint that picture of glamorous, I want to be worshipped. We're not meant to be worshipped. We are not meant to be worshipped. You know, actors, we see actors on TV. Oh my God, they are amazing. Oh my God, look how handsome they are. Look how pretty they are. Oh my God, I want to be like that. All under contract, all controlled puppets. Do as we say. You do as we say. We've seen many artists come and go. Pressures resorted them to substance abuse, alcoholism, depression, to certain degrees, even unaliving themselves. These are the metaverse that we have been subjected to. These verses, these worlds, these paradigms that make us not look out into the world, not look at people. You know, I'll tell you something. I did something amazing the other day. I went out and I just smiled. I thought to myself, today I'm going to just smile at people. And when I smiled at people, it wasn't even tangible, but the energy I got was incredible. The energy I got just from smiling at someone, you cannot make it up. Now, I know many people, I mean, I have 5,000 plus followers, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things. I have 8,000 on one of my pages on Facebook and, you know, 6,000 on, which is nothing. And I guarantee you that only probably 1% will agree with me. Because we have this mentality that, oh, well, who are you to say? Who are you to talk? Who are you to tell me about the world? We should tell each other from a place of love. We should tell each other from a place of love. Listen, this is what's good for humankind. This is how we can make it better. There's one thing that is universal, that we all want to live a peaceful life. We all want to have families. Most of us want to have good communities, people that we're safe with. And there's one thing that's also universal, that at certain points we all feel fear. And this is what I truly believe the government is fueling us with. And the people who are in control of all these media systems and this metaverses and things like that, I truly believe that fear is what is controlling. And so while Inks Performing Arts really is a platform where people come together, where we educate and we bring children, we focus on the children and adults if they are willing to just open up, just realize that perhaps we could be programmed from birth, from our parents' DNA, perhaps. Because the truth is, the children that I see, they're losing confidence. They have no confidence. They have no trust. They have no belief. They have no awareness. They're lacking it, and they're being fed this metaverse, this uh, alternative lifestyle, which is not conducive to their flesh. It doesn't work. It can't come together. Slowly, we are being cyborgs. Everywhere we go, without having a chip in our hands, we have this phone. Every information, everything we do, our form of entertainment, our form of pleasure, our form of, dopamine hits, is all with this external device. Now, you've probably heard it all before, but we at WOW focus on the children. It says 1 in 5 children experience mental health issues. That's incredible. 1 in 5. So, for example, you have a class of 25 children, 5 of those, and I guarantee it's probably even more. The kids I've seen at the moment, when you sit in the UK, kids are lost. And there are no incentives or educational institutional bodies to focus on each child's independent, individual greatness. There's nothing, or very limited. And anxiety, unfortunately, increases during adolescence. Because they're out in this big world. Oh my God, okay. It was protected in school, Now we're going into college. It's a bigger world. It's a smaller world almost like a fractal of the big global world that we're going to be going into. And I've been experiencing loneliness. I've been experiencing hate. I've been experiencing being bullied. Am I going to be like this when I get out and go into the big world? Am I going to experience the same thing that I did when I was in kindergarten? People always picking on me. People always calling me out on something, picking out something that's different on me. Are they always going to be like that? How do I find my group? Many people find their groups, and you have those who don't. They don't know how to socially connect with people because they haven't been given the chance. They haven't been given the chance to do that. Why? Because the opportunity has not been afforded to them to do it on a regular basis to build. And we need to build our children. Depression itself is rising. You cannot believe it. With all the technology we have, depression is rising in our children. That's insane. We've got everything, but depression is rising. What does that tell us? Kids can't even go out and appreciate and just look at the trees and say, wow, this is beautiful. Wow, look at that. They want to achieve what other people have got, or even the lies on the internet, which really, really irritates me no end. These children look at these paid puppets, be they actors, top actors, be they singers, musicians, these great ones who are under contracts. You have to do what we say, and you have to put out what we tell you to put out. That's the reality of the music business. And I've been in the music business. I've been in the theatre business. You do what we say. You do what we tell you to do, which has been passed down by somebody else, but I'm doing this because I need to earn the money also because I need to live. And that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. It's been passed down, passed down, passed down, passed down. And you have to abide by it. You have to abide by it. If not, you lose your job. Children are becoming increasingly isolated. You cannot make it up. And my worry is that these children are becoming adults and are going to take control of us and are going to lead us. And I'm not even talking about children who are in, the private schools. Those ones who are fortunate enough to be in private schools. I'm talking about the everyday children that I see who are being fed junk, watch junk, no inspiration, very little time touching their parents or hugging their parents, tactile affection, very little time because the parents are sucked dry by the systems. What does that tell you guys? That is not living. That's not life. That is control. Just to prevent you from being creative. Keeping a person so busy, their children get into this world, the running race again. The running race. I was tearful when my children came into this world because I thought to myself, wow, what have I brought you into? What have I brought you into this world of madness? What have I brought you into? And then some children, like I said before, ask, why am I here? What is the point of all this? What is the reason why? What am I doing? And there is no one to help them. There's no one to help them. It's anxiety doubles. And bear this in mind, parents. Because a lot of the time our parents are so busy doing their work or on their phones or whatever, wanting to prove to their children that they want to be great, wanting to prove without, and then their children are suffering, and then the children pass on that same attitude. Depression doubles from primary to secondary school. It doubles. And this is information from the NHS, the CDC. This is not just me splurting out. Look, 1 in 5 children suffer from mental health. 1 in 5 children. What happens if that's your child? How painful is that? How hard is that? Life is challenging enough already, and then you've got this. A child that has autism or a child that has ADHD. That's more work for you. And parents simply cannot cope. Adults simply cannot cope. We are just a bigger version of our child. Many of us, and I say this in no disrespect, but many of us in arrested development. Many of us struggling. Solitary brothers, is there a part of you that wants to live? You know, I do it with love. And although I see this going on, I smile because what we need is awareness. What we truly need is awareness. Now, I've been in films. In fact, this is not a. It's a shameful plug, however you want to see it. We just finished a film with Frank Bruno called The Force, and where I play the Frank Bruno double because they wanted a younger version of Frank Bruno and they chose me. So just for that comment over there, I just wanted to tell you that. But you know, our children are so precious. Your children are so precious. Like, and who am I to say I'm nobody? I'm gonna put it out there. Who am I to say I'm nobody to tell you about your child is your child? But I love what I've created because it's a caring thing. It's a caring thing, you know. We're not a performing arts group. We are definitely not. We're here to support schools. I'm here, or we are here, to support schools. We encourage children to speak publicly, to be bold, but do it through a playful way. It doesn't have to be so serious and, oh my God, I got to speak rugby. It's like a playful way. And then we encourage them because that's all they need. That's all our children need is encouragement to do what they do best. What do you do? Let's find out. And not everyone can do it. I have a spiritual discernment with children and adults. And 90% of the time, I can sense what that child wants or needs to grow, to build themselves. We work on teamwork because it's not a race. It is not a race. We have been so programmed to watch Instagram or watch Facebook and see all these people with all these thousands of followers thinking in their own mind that they're important. When if there is no unity, I tell you what, if there is no person who is watching these people, they become nothing. Does that give us the idea of how powerful we as a people are, a community are? If we, as an individual, said, no, we're not going to watch that. No, we're not going to watch you. You're not putting good stuff out for our children. We're not going to watch you. Do you know the power that you have? But I often think in the times in the West, we are very selfish. We are. We think about ourselves, what we can gain. We don't even listen to anybody else. We just think, oh yeah, well, it's, you know, so long as me and my family are all right, that's all right. Not realizing that as a community, we're more powerful. And in fact, without the community, we would be nothing. Even those corner shops that you see. If we never go into those shops, they become bankrupt. You heard what happened in Walmart. They boycotted Walmart. The shares went down, plummeted. These companies, we need to start to realize that we have the power. The power resides with us. It does. It resides with you smart people, you intelligent thinking people who would say, hold on, nah, It's time that we are all not on a level playing field, but there's not so much of a discrepancy between the rich and the poor. And then it's because there's nothing fair in life. We understand that. But when it's a huge, huge chasm between who has and who has not, and I'm talking 20 years before we had all this issue that's going on that's obviously affecting people. I have an audio that I brought out, and it's going to be released in August. It says, "Why Britain become racist? Why did they?" Because it makes sense when you look outside. When you look outside, and you're not looking just, and you can't see the wood from the trees. We build on children's emotional intelligence. We want these children to be emotionally intelligent, not to have brain fog or lost because their parents are not there. Platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, even X should have a responsibility to bring people together and not to look at every little thing we're doing and to try to spy on us. They should have that responsibility. They should have that as a mission to bring people together, to understand, to respect the land that you're in. Respect the land that you're in. You in England? Respect it. You in Jamaica? Respect it. You in Ukraine? Respect it. You in Hungary? Respect it. You in Africa? Respect it. You in India? Respect it. Your land? Respect it. Respect the people who built that land. Respect the indigenous people of that land and their spirit, because every land has a spirit. Respect it. We need our children to become more confident, not arrogant, but confident. Confident in their abilities, knowing what they would like to be. Imagine going to a school and saying, "What do you like to do?" And the kids like, "I want to be a fireman. I want to be a doctor." Beautiful. What about those who don't know what they want? Okay, let's try and find it. Let's try and find it. Let's try to give them worth. Let's try to give them purpose. Let's help them to become better communicators. You know, the internet is driving humankind crazy. The internet is driving human beings crazy. That added with fumes from cars, fuel, you know, food, social media, chemtrails, all these things just being bombarded onto humankind. EMF rays, frequencies going in, passing through us as we're talking right now. We are not safe at all. Our cells are not safe. Our human cells are being affected by all these EMF rays just passing through. How do you think people are calling right now? Things are passing all the way through us all the time. We wonder why. That accompanied with negative energy, dark energy, news, wars, rumors of wars, diseases, all these threats and stuff like this. What do you expect the people to be happy to bring that energy? Stuff on the internet to take you away from even having the thought to hold on, let me just ground myself. Let me just ground myself to become closer to the universe, closer to God, closer to who I truly am. Not even a thought. People have no time to even do that. And that's the issue. Respect. Where has respect gone? Do you remember back in the days? Who remembers back in the days when we used to say respect your elders? Remember that. Respect your elders. We don't respect our elders anymore. We don't. The Bible says respect your elders. You should respect your elders. Because they supposedly used to have the wisdom. And now we have corrupt elders. Elders in the US government, 80, 90 years old, who are stuck. Nigerian leaders, 80, 90-year-old, who are stuck, won't leave, won't pass on to the more younger generation, who want to see good, who are not programmed, who are not, oh my God, this is how it used to be, so it should always be like this. Not full of fear of catching illness because of your weakened immune old system. And of course, we should respect them, but also they should have that ability to have that understanding. Hold on a minute, now we got to pass it on. Some of them don't want to give up power. Egotistical, don't want to give up power, want to hold on to the power forever and ever and ever. And go to any means adrenochrome to hold on to their youth. And this is the compounding, like a spider's web, like the internet, spider's web of just a plethora of different reasons as to why we've become the way we've become. And to be honest with you, it is written in the Bible that this is how it will be. So I'm not surprised, and I'm not anxious, and I'm not worried. But I do feel that this is how it is. And this is how it's going to be. But the darkness never wins, guys. The darkness never wins. Light will always win. And this is why we bring with us the WOW Inc. Performing Arts, the light to the children. We want your children to be great. We want your children to be proud. How many parents have their babies in their arms and are like, you know what, I don't give a crap about you. I'm just going to just throw you to the sharks and leave you there, and, you fight your way out. How many parents would do that in their right mind? How many parents in their right mind would do that? There's not many. When it's a part of you, there's a certain fight that you have for that child. How many parents, there's a certain fight that you have that's ingrained, that's natural, that's my baby, that come from me. It's my responsibility to look after this child. It's my responsibility to protect this child. How many parents? And yet, the internet comes into your house uninvited to pollute your children's mind as their doors are shut, and the internet is just fueling them with absolute filth, degradation, fear, worry, everything that is dark, and where they cannot learn to transmute it into love. They just take everything on board. And what kind of mind would think of doing something like that? We are such a great people. I love the UK. I love Germany. But look at how Germany's turning into a hateful place. Look at it. The numbers of the AfD, Alternative for Deutschland, look how hateful they're becoming. Because it's by design. We call it hate. I call it natural progression towards survival, or a natural reaction towards survival. When you feel you're under threat, you eliminate that which is not like you, first of all, when you feel you're under threat. Question is, who is doing it? That's the question at hand. Who is orchestrating this feeling amongst you? Who's making you feel like that? Yes, that is the symptom. But what is the cause? What is causing this? And who is doing this? That is the question. Why is the UK be growing in certain elements of, we don't want a particular kind of people, or we're aware of particular kind of people. And of course, as a Christian, if you are a Christian, which is what I am, I'm not a zealot, but I'm a Christian, and I'm in the Church of England country, and I believe it should be run by Church of England. It should be run by Christians. That's what I believe. Because then it becomes less confusing. The devil orchestrates chaos. And when things are chaotic, it's beautiful, it's great, because we can see them warring against you, disliking each other. When in Rome, my point is, our children need to be protected at all costs. They cannot afford to be left to the system that is educating them. Now, if we even have a look at who is in Ofsted, who's in charge in Ofsted, who's in charge of the education in Tower Hamlets, who's in charge of the education all around certain parts of the UK. I do not need to say any more. Our children are struggling. And our parents and teachers are also struggling. Anxiety is rising. Depression is rising. Confidence is falling. Children running around with weapons. Unbelievable. Is that a productive society? Is that a progressive society? No, that's not, man. And so, listen, it's not a counseling service I'm bringing here. This is not a counseling service. This is a service to say that nothing happens until a child feels emotionally safe. Nothing happens. You can do whatever you want, you can say whatever you want, but you know what? Until you actually touch and plant the seed in that child, you lose the adult. I want to learn the children's interests, and we're going to build on that. Listen without judgment, because we don't know their life. We don't know their perspective, how they see things. I see things different to you. Build rapport, create predictable routines for these children so they know they're safe. We have a responsibility. Being a parent is a huge responsibility. Being a teacher is like being a parent with a huge responsibility. And those parents as well, because I speak to a lot of teachers. Teachers are not your babysitters. Teachers are not your babysitters. You brought them into this world. It's your responsibility to instill them with great, good things. They're not your babysitters. Have a child, just throw it into the school and just ignore. No, your responsibility is to your child to build them up. We want the children to understand strengths, challenges, confrontations, how to deal with conflict. Help the child recognize their emotions. Help them to regulate their emotions, to build them. Let's say, we here really want to help the children. The focus is on the children and also the adults as well. And you know, the most important thing is good to talk. It's really so important to talk. I want to wish you guys a beautiful day. Be blessed. Have a great Sunday. Take care, yours, Carl.